Welcome back, Raider Nation. Before we get into the video, I first want to say thank you guys so much for the recent support. We're a small channel trying to grow and share our passion with as many of you guys out there as possible. So if you do happen to enjoy our content, please like the video, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends, and subscribe to this page. Let's get into it.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song, he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
What's up, everybody? On a recent podcast appearance with Maxx Crosby, Davante Adams had some key comments regarding Jordan Love.
But in hindsight, like we talked about, I mean, the kid is a baller, man. I'm so happy for him, and you know, I haven't really had a chance to truly sit down and talk with him, but I want to tell him at some point, like, you know, I definitely don't regret changing, but I'm super proud of what you've done, and you know, if there was a way I could pull you over here and you know and drag you with me like that, you know, that would have been cool too.
Look, as a result of these comments, there's been a lot of buzz that Davante regrets his decision to leave Green Bay and that he wants to go back and leave the Raiders. And what I'll say to that is that may or may not be true. Only Davante can really know that. There's no point for us to go and analyze this. But what I think these comments do mean is that Davante is really unhappy with the current quarterback room that the Raiders have. You know, I think if he had his guy Derek Carr at the helm or his favorite QB in the draft, Jaden Daniels, playing quarterback for us, I don't think there's a chance on God's green earth that he goes and makes these comments saying, I want Jordan Love, a guy like that, to come to the Raiders and play quarterback. I think he's unhappy with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. I think he wanted Jaden Daniels in the draft. And, this podcast was released, I think, a day after the first round of the NFL draft. So clearly he wasn't happy that we didn't get a quarterback in the first round. And, unfortunately, I think this could be a microcosm of the Raiders season because I would argue that the Raiders, we currently have a top 7, 8 roster in the NFL. We have high-end talent at key positions. Defensive tackle, we got Christian Wilkins. Defensive end, Malcolm Kuntz, Maxx Crosby. Tyree Wilson's going to be emerging. And, offensive line, we have Colton Miller at left tackle, Dylan Parham, Andre James. Now we have JPJ. So we have a pretty stout offensive line. Running back, we have Zamir White, emerging star. Receiver, Devontae, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and at tight end, of course, Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. So we have a pretty stacked roster. I would argue, in terms of roster construction, we can compete with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bills. We have high-end talent, and the only thing really missing currently is a quarterback. You know, According to Devontae, what this means is he doesn't feel that our quarterback room is ready to go compete for a Super Bowl. So obviously we have Aiden O'Connell, who he's shown a little bit of promise in his rookie season. We went 5-4 down the stretch of the season, and I think his two biggest strengths is he has a great arm and he's very accurate. He had so many deep balls deep down the field that were, big time throws for us. In terms of accuracy, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that can make some of the throws across the sideline or down the field over the middle. I don't think there's a lot of quarterbacks that can make those throws that Aiden O'Connell made in his rookie season. But I think watching the tape, he has two very clear weaknesses, and that is, he's not mobile. He hasn't shown the ability to get out of the pocket and make plays, extend plays like some of the top guys have done. And against the blitz, when there's pressure around his feet, he panics and he's not able to deliver the ball accurately, as he could with a clean pocket. PFF, there's an interesting metric. I think he was a 39th out of 41st ranked against the blitz. And when he had 2.5 seconds or more, he was middle of the pack. He was 20th out of 41st eligible quarterback. So when he's not pressured, he's good enough to win games and be that game manager, be that distributor that you want. But when there's pressure, at least in his rookie season, he wasn't able to bounce back from that. And that's very similar to a guy that we've seen here for 9 years in Derek Carr. He had a great arm. He was a great leader in the locker room. He commanded the huddle. And his deep ball was, I wouldn't say it was the best, but it was serviceable. But, the two things that really hurt him is he couldn't move and he couldn't ever face the blitz. I remember Joey Bosa's comments a few years ago saying when there's pressure around his feet, he curls into the fetal position, basically. So Derek Carr, while he was a great leader for us and we had some great memories with him, he was never able to take that next step and lead us to a postseason run like we had hoped. And so unfortunately, I think Aiden O'Connell has that ceiling of Derek Carr, but he's limited by the same characteristics that Derek Carr was limited by in his 9 years here. And Gardner Minshew, I don't, the jury's out on whether or not he's talented enough to lead you to a Super Bowl. He's a smaller guy. He's more nimble. He can move around in the pocket a little bit. But I don't think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl at this point of his career. Maybe you sneak in as a 7 seed, 6 seed, get into the AFC wild card, but I don't think he's not shown the ability to go and battle a guy like Patrick Mahomes, a guy like Josh Allen, and go toe to toe with those players. Say what you want about Carr, but he's done that in the past. He went toe to toe with Herbert and beat him. Went toe to toe with Mahomes and beat him, and almost went toe to toe with Burrow in the playoffs and came out on top. So I don't know if Minshew can go and do that. He failed against CJ Stroud. They had basically a win and get in scenario against the Texans, and on 4th down and 1, he didn't get it done. He threw it a behind. He threw a very inaccurate pass to the fullback, and that cost him their season. So I know that's only one play, but that's sort of a microcosm of Minshew's career. He leaves you a little bit to be desired in those clutch moments, and I don't know if he can go and win you games, important games down the stretch of the season, to go and make a playoff run. And so I would say there's still hope for this season. I'm not expecting to go win a Super Bowl this season, unfortunately, but there's hope that these quarterbacks can lead you to the playoffs. Aiden O'Connell has shown some upside, and Gardner Minshew, I think his ceiling right now is a Rich Gannon type resurrection. Gannon, similar type career. He never really had a solid supporting cast around him, never had stability in the organizations he played for before. But once he got to the John Gruden-led Raiders in about 1998, I believe, he was able to take that next step as a player. And I hope Minshew, if there's ever a chance that he can do that, I think we're golden. So there is hope for the season. I'm not giving up on the season, but I'm just a fan, unfortunately, and Davante is the wide receiver. He's seen these guys up close in practice. He really has an inside look, and unfortunately, it doesn't sound like he's too optimistic about our quarterback options for this upcoming year. He wanted Jaden Daniels. That didn't happen. He wanted Aaron Rodgers last year. Of course, that didn't happen with him going to the Jets. So, unfortunately for Davante, he came here to play with his boy and Derek Carr. That didn't work out, and it seems like nothing has really worked out in terms of the quarterback room that he's wanted, since the time he's been here. So, I'm hoping that these quarterbacks can prove him wrong and go and deliver the ball to him and go win us some games, because I think we have that ability in our quarterback room, but it's just a matter of can they take that next step and do what the front office is projecting them to do. But yeah, Raider Nation, we're going to have you covered. All things roster evaluation, all things player evaluation. The schedule is going to be coming out soon, so this channel is going to be have you covered. All things Raiders, and yeah, thanks for the support. Keep liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing with your friends. Those 4 things go a long way for us. And yeah, until then, Jahan signing off. Thank you guys.